Our first speaker is none other than Michael de Kok, Artistic Director of the KVS. He has a very diverse career spanning in literature, theater, and cultural advocacy. As you listen to him, I encourage you guys to not merely be passive listeners, but active receivers, and really think about what he has to tell you guys today. So please give it up for Michael de Kok.
Thank you. Okay, after this you get rid of me, I promise. It's the last time you will hear me tonight, and then we'll go to other speakers. Okay, I have for you tonight a promise, a poem, 9 questions, and a story about a painting that saved the world. So I will start with the promise. I will talk for 10 minutes, because that's the time we get here, and after 10 minutes, exactly wherever I am, I will stop talking, and I will give you a poem as an act of generosity. So if somebody can take his phone, can somebody do that, please? An iPhone, and put the clock. Not all at once. I will have many questions for you guys, so you have to help me out. Yes, there is somebody doing it. Great. Can you watch the clock, and at 10 minutes you just say stop? Okay, don't forget to listen meanwhile. Thank you very much. What's your name? Thank you very much. Okay, great. So tell me when you start running, huh? So the poem, but there's also one condition after the promise. After 10 minutes, she will say stop, and then somebody in the venue will stand up and say a poem. I don't know who, but I think somebody, everybody... Huh?
Maybe Sandra Sarah.
Voila. They will start thinking that we prepared this, you know, Sandra Sarah, which we didn't, by the way. So at 10 we stop. No, you're not counting yet, huh? Wait, huh? No, Sandra, wait a second. Okay. That's a trick, of course, you know, you talk. So at 10 we say stop, then somebody gets up and does a poem, because we all know poems, and I think culture is about transmission and sharing poetry, beauty. So somebody, we don't say who, so we stay silent when she says stop, somebody gets up and does a poem. Do we agree with that? We did, huh? Very good. Okay, I start with 9 questions, and also there I will need you, so you cannot lean back and relax. You will have to answer. But of course we're many people, so you just answer. I will ask you a question, we will prepare, and you just say out loud what you have to say. So let's start as a warming up. Question 1. Are you running, Sandra?
Yes.
Okay, oof. Question 1 is, what was the first thing you did this morning? Come on, we can do this much better. What was the first thing you did this morning? Okay, very good. Summer was great, but what is the thing you're looking forward to the most next year in this academic year? Okay, now we will go to yes-no questions. That will be easier. You say yes or no, okay. Is art for the happy few? Thank you. Can art be a power within democracy?
Yes.
Does social media empower the citizens and strengthen democracy?
No.
Similar question. Is the quality of democracy increasing because of social media?
No.
Okay. Is artificial intelligence a bliss for the future?
Yes.
Do we need to make laws to control artificial intelligence?
Yes.
A series, fiction, written by artificial intelligence. Would you love to watch it?
Yes.
Okay, another one. Do people have the right to throw soup at a Van Gogh painting? Okay, a last one, and I don't know if it's wait, where is it? Okay. Should the president of a political party stay in power when he was caught saying racist stuff when he was drunk? Was that a yes or a no? Oh my God. Okay, how many minutes? Great. Okay, so I was asked to say something about the relationship between art and power and society. I think because I've written this book earlier this year, it's about only imagination that can save us, and it's some essays about art and about beauty and about what triggers me and what triggers all of us in this theater, how can we relate to society and to how can we claim to have impact on society, and what can a city theater mean for a city? You know, what can we give them? What can we give a city? What can we get out of the city? And how do we relate towards the city? That was the main question. And I was writing it, and I was writing very interesting and intellectual essays, but it didn't felt right. So this summer, last summer, I was in Tomorrowland, and there I find about what to write. Who has ever been to Tomorrowland here? You've been to Tomorrowland? This is the only person being to Tomorrowland in all this crowd? Ah, thank you. Okay. So I was in Tomorrowland, and there I was there actually. I had free tickets because I was driving a soprano who had to sing at the end of the evening. There was like this kind of Super Bowl moment. I don't know if you were there in the edition of 22. There was in the end of the fireworks, there was like a soprano and a tenor singing, and then there was all the fireworks. And so she had to sing there, and I brought her with the car, so I went there every day. 10 days in a row, I went to Tomorrowland. 10 days. And the last day, I had there a very strange encounter. I will tell immediately who it was. I met Paris Hilton there. Because I was 10 days in the backstage of Tomorrowland, which is, I don't know, I think you haven't been in the backstage, the people who were there, but it's just backstage. And there, actually, it's like a lobby of a 5-star hotel. So you have like gin tonic the whole day, rum cola. I don't drink, so if you wanted like a drink without alcohol, you really had to yell, "No gin!" because otherwise they gave you gin in your tonic. So in the last day, there were like all these people coming there to go on stage. That's an American system. They go on stage, and a guy who was shooting a documentary comes to me and he says, "Look at that woman. It's amazing all the famous people who's here." And I look at the woman and I say, "Who is she?" And he says, "It's Paris Hilton." And I didn't recognize her, so only when she put her glasses, I'm looking at you now, guys, which you don't look like Paris Hilton, but still, I went closer and I saw Paris Hilton. And I called the soprano friend and I said, "Please come over." I have to say, I'm never starstruck, but with Paris Hilton, I was starstruck. A little bit because she's like, for me, I'm from the 80s, 90s, so in the 90s, she was like the first big phenomenon, you know, world famous, doing nothing. A little bit the dream of Andy Warhol. No, she's a living piece of art in a way. And so the soprano comes over, we take a picture with both of them anyways, and the soprano goes, and then it starts actually the story, because suddenly I'm alone with her in the toilet. It's the truth. And she looks at me, and and she says, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, is she talking to me? Because there were these bodyguards and they left. And she looks at me and I say, "Me?" And I say, "I'm not a DJ." And she says, "No, obviously you're not a DJ." And I'm like wondering what's wrong with me that I don't look like a DJ, but still. I said, "I'm a driver." And she said, "No, you're not a driver." And I said, "Okay, I'm artistic director from KVS." And she didn't know what KVS was. So then I started yelling like people do in the post office. I said, "KVS!" You know, when people don't understand you, you have to yell. The Royal Flemish Theatre. Anyway, long story short, we came here in the night. She said to me, "Show me KVS." And I'm like... So I took her in this little car, this golf car, which you drive on Tomorrowland to go from the backstage to the street. I took her here. I had to deactivate the alarm, and we were like spending the night here. She went to the costume atelier here downstairs, and she put an 18th century Madame de Tourvel kind of costume, and I showed her around. It's an amazing building. I must say, if you once have the chance to visit the building, it's amazing. We went to the rooftop. We have a rooftop here. It's amazing. You can see the Béguinage there. It's a really beautiful sight on the city. We had a joint together because we have on the rooftop we have a small wheat plantation. One of the technicians started that a few years ago, pre-COVID, and it was really personal use. But then, because of inflation, now we're really running out of money. So now, every Monday, everybody from KVS goes out in the street. And before we're at Saint Catherine, we come back like with a few thousand euros. And we tax shelter that money. You know what tax shelter is? And then we make a new project. Anyway, so when I was writing this book about art, I was looking back in my memory about what art meant to me. And when I was your age, 20-something, Sandra, what's the time?
7.
You have the power. Sandra has the power, not Patti Smith, Sandra. So when I was 20, I was studying in university in Antwerp. And there was a poster campaign for the Antwerp Cultural City of Europe. And it was a small guy playing the flute. Dwarsfluit, who knows that in English? Nobody knows dwarsfluit in English. Who knows it? Traverso, maybe? In general, nobody knows it in English. Anyway, he was playing the flute, and next to the flute player there was, kan kunst de wereld redden? Can art save the world? And I was really triggered by that question. I think because it's a very, as well, stupid and very interesting question. It's interesting because it opens lots of other questions. What art? What world? My world? Your world? Is the world threatened? By who? But also because when you're 20, when you're your age, I mean, I think everybody who's older than 50 here can affirm with me that being 20 is a great age. When you're 20 and when you're in university, everything you read, you learn, you absorb, it stays with you for the rest of your life. I mean, I think the best things in life you learn before you're 20. I didn't hear that. Anyway, show me the flute player. There he is. So the best things in life, I'm gonna stop. The best things in life you learn before you're 20. That's why I think you should learn art to young people, and you should empower them, because the first big pop song, you know, the best novel you read, it's when you were like 16, 17, the one that blew you away the first time, the best poem you heard, the first broken heart. Who remembers his first broken heart? It's the one when you're very young, and it stays with you for the rest of your life. And this picture, and why it's so interesting, is because you see a picture of... Why you can keep looking at it is because you see a painting by Manet of an artist, of a flute player. But what art is saving the world? Is it the painting, or is it the flute, or is it the music he's playing on the flute? And what music is he playing? So you have a little bit like a mise en abîme, or a Droste effect, what they call it in literature. I don't know if you feel it, but you can keep on looking to it, and it keeps on giving back questions to me, actually. Those days, Antwerp was really a fascinating, roaring city. These days, it's more boring. Now Brussels is a fascinating city, but in these days, when that question was asked to me, 30 years later, today, I'm still thinking about it and about how we can, as a theater, act or dialogue with society to have impact on the world. Okay, 10 minutes are over. The painting that saved the world, you have to read in the book. There is a painting that saved the world. Show it, Catherine, the painting that saved the world. Voilà. Because of that painting, a pilot from England who had to bomb San Sepolcro in Italy didn't bomb it because he never saw it. He knew that that painting was somewhere in a cave in Italy, in San Sepolcro. And when he heard he had to bomb the city, he didn't do it because he read in a novel by Aldous Huxley that this painting is the most beautiful painting of the world, by Piero della Francesca. Okay. Poem.
Par cette nuit chargée de signes d'étoiles, je m'ouvrais pour la première fois à la tendre indifférence de ce monde, de la sentir si pareille à moi, si fraternelle enfin, et pour la première fois de ma vie, j'ai su que j'étais heureuse. Camille.
Merci. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease at all too short a date. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance, or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of what fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines through time thou growest. So long as man can live and eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. Dank u wel.